Hi everyone, good evening. Hello, we're gonna wait a second for everyone to join us. I'm just here relaxing and I was thinking about all of you and I thought a little bit earlier tonight, the kids are still not home. They're at my mother's, it's camp time. And this year they went to day camp and it's like perfect. It's like a block from my mother's house. So it's been like sleepaway because they go to my mom's, they sleep over during the week, and then they come home on the weekends, which is like perfect, especially when they're 14 and 12. Hi, hello. So Joe and I were here and I'm like, oh my God, the questions are rolling in. I think it's a Q&A night. What do you think? So seemed like everybody wanted to do it. So I'm happy to see you guys. Hello, welcome. Okay, everybody's joining us now. Yeah, that little bit of delay, you know, I turn it on and then everybody's seeing it. Are you guys seeing it when I put, like when I go live, is it giving you a notification that I've come on? Did it go live when I went live? Did it tell you I'm on? I'm trying to see if it's different now. Hi, welcome. I'm sitting on a different spot of the couch. It's my new spot tonight. Yay, it's a different part of the couch. Joe's sitting over there looking at me. What are you doing? Yeah, okay. All right, so yes. Is that a yes, Nina? Yes, Cindy? Okay, good. So it notified you. Excellent. If you're not getting notifications, I think there's a little notification button that you can hit when the video's over or maybe during that will send you the notification so that when we go live, you get some notice in case you don't see my my post ahead of time. But I'm so happy to see you guys. Oh, there's Joe posting as me. That's Joe right there. It's not me doing it with my eyes on the screen here. So Joe's gonna be posting as me tonight. We've got some questions to answer. We've got, yes, where's everybody from tonight? Let's just get a little bit of a roll call here. I want to see where everybody's coming from all over the country and some places outside the country too. We're going to do some questions and answers tonight. We're going to talk about the Evenflo Feeding double electric pump because we're going to do another giveaway this week. And we're going to have some fun tonight. Oh, Ontario. Okay, here we go. Let's see. New Hampshire. Yay. Look at all this. I'm in New Jersey. Is it hot where you are? Because it has been like super, super hot, like oppressively hot and humid where you can't even stand outside. And then every day we've had these torrential rains that come down. And we just moved into this new house and I've got skylights in this house and one of the skylights, of course, you know, I got multiple, but one of them is leaking and it's right over the dining room table. And I'm like, I need like a tarp because every single day the rain comes and the roof starts leaking again. So it's not fun, but that's what happens. You move into a new house, you figure things out, such is life. And at least we got a roof over our head. It's not falling down. So we're happy about that. Look at all these people from everywhere. Everybody's coming from all over the place, Joe. Yay. Okay. So tonight, let's answer a few questions. You guys have been posting on my wall. I printed out a few that you guys have been leaving for me. So remember to do that. Go ahead and leave your questions. I may not get to it right away, but we'll keep doing these Q&As and then I'll answer your questions. So you'll get your question answered, okay? But you got to post. Don't private message me the questions unless you're planning to set up a consultation because they need to go on the wall for me to answer them here live, okay? So let's get started. Let's see now. Here's a question that Sarah sent in to me and she said, I have a question for you. After having a baby and breastfeeding on demand, when should you start pumping? And how should you pump? Should I let the baby feed and then pump right after? Or how does it work best to build my milk supply? Okay, so this question, what she's asking is how quickly after you have the baby should you start pumping? She's looking to, this is kind of two questions because she's asking when should she start pumping while she's breastfeeding. And at the same time, she wants to build up her milk supply. My question for that is how much of a supply is she trying to build up? Because sometimes moms think that, you need to have a lot more milk than what your baby's eating. And that could cause issues like oversupply, which can lead to mastitis, plugged ducts, engorgement, difficulty with latching, gassiness. I mean, having more milk than you need is actually not always the best thing. Now, that being said, if you're going back to work and you need to build up your supply for, like a freezer stash, or you need to build up some extra milk so that you have enough for that first day back, of course you're going to need a little extra. So let's answer this question in practical ways. First of all, I don't recommend starting to pump for storage, until at least about 6 weeks after the baby's born. Now, again, that being said, if you're going back to work 6 weeks after the baby's born or sooner, you obviously can't wait that long to get that milk supply, to get that amount that you're going to need for your first day back. You can't wait 6 weeks. But in general terms, if you have enough time to wait, then I would wait till about 6 weeks to start pumping extra milk in addition to what your baby's eating every single day. And I think that's the key, because I think that right after the baby's born, the best way, and not just me, I don't just think this, but this is the truth. Right after the baby's born, feeding on demand, breastfeeding at the breast on demand is what's going to bring in your milk. Okay. That's what you want to do, is you want to regulate your milk supply to what your baby needs. And the best way to do that is to let your baby feed on demand, feed frequent feedings in the beginning, and your baby will regulate your milk supply. So it's perfect for your baby. You can start pumping a little bit of extra milk. And in my program, in the Simply Breastfeeding program, I talk about when to introduce your baby to a bottle. And it's pretty early. It's within the first 2 weeks. But what I'm talking about is just pumping a little amount each day, maybe a half an ounce or less, and just introducing the baby to a bottle. That's not pumping to build a supply. That's not pumping to store milk, to freeze milk. It's none of that. It's just to introduce your baby to a bottle so that at the point where you actually are going back to work, the baby will take a bottle. All right, that's a whole other separate question. But that's the first time you might be pumping. To actually pump for a storage, you're gonna wait 6 weeks, ideally, okay? And she's also asking, should she let the baby feed and then pump right after the feeding, or how does it work to build it up? I find it that it is really hard to pump after a feeding. So typically what I recommend is pumping either during a feeding, like, first of all, let's do this. Let's just talk about how much extra would I pump when I'm actually in the mode of pumping to store. And that's no more than 1 extra feeding. I hope you're taking notes because I'm saying a lot here. 1 extra feeding in addition to what the baby's eating for the day. So that means if a feeding is 3 ounces or 4 ounces, and that's about a normal amount for a 6-week to 3-month-old baby, then you're not going to pump more than 3 to 4 ounces extra for the day in addition to fully feeding the baby at the breast, or, breastfeeding or nursing. So that's how you build up your supply. You don't pump 10 ounces, 15 ounces, 20 ounces in addition to breastfeeding, because that's what's going to cause you to be extra full and engorged. Okay. So pumping a little bit, maybe you're feeding the baby on one side. That was always my favorite time. Like, you wake up first thing in the morning, your breasts are really full. You feel like, I've got some extra milk. The baby doesn't necessarily need all of it because you're extra full in the morning. You can latch the baby onto one side and put the breast pump on the other. And then if milk is actually going to express much easier, your letdown's going to be easier because your baby's sucking, and you'll get that little bit of extra milk. Say you can't get a whole feeding out of that pumping. What you could do is, for several feedings during that day, you could pump a half an ounce right before the feeding starts, then feed the baby and keep adding to that bottle. Does that make sense? So that half an ounce, over, let's see, if you wanted to get a 4-ounce bottle, that means 8 feedings during the day. Before every single time that you nurse that day, you pump a half an ounce, maybe a 1/4 of an ounce on each side. That'll take you like 2 minutes. The first minute of a letdown, you're going to get that little 1/4 of an ounce, and then you stop, feed the baby. The baby won't even notice it's gone because there's always more milk when the baby eats. And then you'll have your 4 ounces for the day. I go over that too in my breast pumps and briefcases class, because especially when you're storing up milk to go back to work, you're like, well, how do I get all this milk up for when I need it for the first day, and then plus my freezer stash? There's ways to calculate that out, and I do make those calculations. There's a video, I know, Joe, there's a video that I did. It's called breastfeeding. It's called pumping while you're breastfeeding, right? Is that what it's called? Pumping extra milk while you're breastfeeding. I want him to put up that link because that's a good video. And I know I just rattled off a lot of stuff just now. And some of you are like, what did you just say? This video will kind of explain what I just said and what I just went over because it's kind of an important point. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Joe, gonna post it now?
Let's give her some love.
Who's that?
For the question.
Oh, for the question? Sarah gets lots of love for the question. It's actually a really good question. And I know a lot of you wanted to know the answer to that one. And that's why I even made a video. This is like a couple months ago I made this video, but some of you haven't seen it yet. So we'll give love to Sarah. And we're thankful that she asked that question because I know you all wanted to know the answer.
In the form of hearts.
Yay. Okay. Awesome. Look at all the questions coming in. Uh-oh. Okay. The problem is I can't see really good. So if I come up to the screen really close like that, it's because I'm trying to see it. All right, so let's keep going, answer a few more questions. Let's see if I can scroll through here some of these. Okay, I can't read it on the screen. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to answer them right. Oh, you did put it up. Okay, good. Joe put up the post there. Perfect. Okay. The second question came in from Carrie. Okay. Carrie said, hi, Shari, do you recommend breast milk producing products like lactation cookies, drinks, or pills to help boost supply? If so, what brand is your favorite? Is this the best way to help boost your supply? I'd like to produce enough to have an emergency stash on hand. Currently, I only make enough for day to day. Thank you, Carrie. Okay, that actually rolls right into the last question we just answered. So it's actually really a great follow-up here because first, she's saying she only makes enough for day to day. And that video that I just had Joe post about breastfeeding, pumping while you're breastfeeding will explain how to pump that extra milk for the emergency stash that she's referring to here while she's continuing to breastfeed, feeding to feeding. Okay, so that's going to help that one. And again, it's not pumping more, not expecting your body to be able to produce more than it just maybe one extra feeding in addition to the breastfeedings or the nursings that you're doing for the day. And that also goes for exclusively pumping moms. If you are exclusively pumping, you may be able to pump more than your baby's eating. But if you notice, if you start pumping a lot, you're going to feel very, very full. Some people can handle that, and that's okay because that's a great time to be able to donate milk, to put milk in the freezer, to store it. And a lot of you guys I know are donating, which is fantastic. But it's just not for everyone because some people who produce a lot of milk where they're pumping for their baby or nursing and then also pumping on top of it will end up with breast infections and mastitis and engorgement and difficulty with latching. So if you're one of those people that can do it, fantastic. If not, one extra feeding in addition to your nursings every single day. As far as like what will help to produce best way to boost her supply, again, you don't need to boost supply in order to have that emergency stash. You may need to boost supply if you feel like your milk supply is a little low. When those kind of things happen, some people do have low milk supply. Some people, when they get their period, so you're doing fine, and then what happens is, your period comes back. Maybe your baby's around 6 months old or earlier, and when your period comes back, your hormones can cause a little bit of a decrease in your milk supply. Those are some good times for some of the lactation cookies or the teas or the tinctures. I would say that, on a regular basis, I like just as a normal thing to drink while you're breastfeeding or pumping, nursing or pumping anytime is the Earth Mama Angel Baby Milkmaid tea. So that's just a great tea to drink throughout your whole breastfeeding experience. But in order to actually boost milk, I would say a little bit stronger would be the tinctures, like the fenugreek or some kind of a tincture. So that's going to actually be more of a concentrated amount, but you want to do that with be careful with that, okay? It can cause some issues for some people, but it does work. So if you're getting your period again, or if you feel like your supply is a little bit low, or maybe your baby's going through a normal growth spurt and you just want to do that in addition to feeding frequently and nursing on demand, okay? Because that's the number one thing that's going to keep your supply up, okay? It's not going to be you eat a cookie and so then you can skip a feeding and your milk supply will boost. That's not going to happen. And I know a lot of you guys are not doing that, okay? But I just want to be clear that it's really about how you're breastfeeding and the frequency with which you're breastfeeding that's going to maintain your supply. These things just add a little bit of a boost. And tincture form is better than pills and better than tea. Okay? So hopefully that answers your question. All right. So let me look here. Okay, so I just got a question here. Let's see. Sarah, I'm looking to see. Okay, Sarah's asking a question, and I have to hit see more. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. Maybe that was a mistake here. See if I can read it. I think what Sarah's asking me here is that your baby's refusing the bottle. Okay, she's on her 4th baby. She's now about 12 weeks old. She had a couple bottles early on, but then but that's all because she was the 4th baby and life is crazy. Yes, life can get crazy with the 4th baby. It can get crazy with any baby. Now she is refusing the bottle. She seems to be totally confused about what to do with the nipple. Just bites on it or swishes it from side to side in her mouth. She also has trouble with the pacifier, sometimes sucking, sometimes. Okay, so here's the thing. When it comes to bottles and breastfed babies, this is one of the reasons why I recommend introducing the bottle earlier than what you might be hearing it from others. Typically, the recommendations are wait 4 to 6 weeks or longer to introduce your baby to a bottle. And what I find is that if you do that, many of those babies, like a lot of those babies, will refuse the bottle. And that's fine if you're going to be a stay-at-home mom and you don't have any other kids and you're never going to leave your baby, and it can be done. And I say that because I had to do that with my second baby. My second baby, I waited 3 weeks to introduce her to a bottle. And she never took a bottle. She never took a pacifier. She never took a bottle. She only wanted to breastfeed. And it was hard because I was working. I had a store and a learning center at the time. So I was lucky because I was able to bring her with me. And so I could stop and nurse her, which was actually a really good thing. But I realized that by not introducing it soon enough, they get smart really quick. And she never took a bottle. Whereas with my first daughter, Jade, I was still working as a midwife at the time, and I didn't have my store, and I was like, a couple weeks after I had her, I had to run out to go do deliveries at the hospital, and it was like, bye, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, Joe, take the baby. I gotta go. Baby's coming, and I've gotta run. And so I was kind of like, she needs to take a bottle like early. So I introduced her maybe like a week after I had her, and she was latching well. We were having no issues at that time. At that point, we were actually finally figuring it out. And I just started to introduce a little bit of milk, maybe like 1/4 ounce in the bottle. And I did it every single day just to make sure that she could continue to take a bottle. What I'm reading into Sarah's question here is that the baby took a bottle, but now is refusing the bottle. And so regardless of when you start feeding, okay, the baby, that little bit of in the bottle, the important thing to remember is to be consistent with it, which, means the baby's taking the bottle, but if you wait another week or 2 weeks and then don't give the baby the bottle, the baby may reject it at that point. And that's going to all come down to your life and if you need the baby to take a bottle. If you do, then I recommend being consistent, pumping that little bit of 1/2 ounce, feeding the baby every single day. It could be a good time for dad to feed the baby, but just enough to keep the bottle going in the baby's mouth. If you're at the point where the baby's already rejecting it, keep trying, especially if you really need the baby to take a bottle, like if you're going back to work. If in the end, you could try different nipples too. Sometimes people think that they need like really wide base nipples, short nipples, that actually doesn't really help the baby to latch well to the bottle as they do, like the way they would at a breast. They need their mouth wide open. So sometimes the more narrow neck nipples will help. So it might not be what you're thinking. But try different nipples, try different positions for feeding the baby, maybe holding the baby upright more, definitely in a more upright position so that you can slow down the feeding a little bit, but keep trying. And if the baby does eventually never takes the bottle, you could always feed the baby with a cup. All right, so there is a way to cup feed the baby. So there are other alternatives, but I would say try to get off to the right start. Okay. Let's all send Sarah love.
I'm trying, it's not showing.
We'll send Sarah love for that question. I see
go.
hearts. Okay, I just saw like a little lonely heart just go flying across the screen there. Let's get some hearts for Sarah. How do I do hearts? Can I do hearts too? I don't know. If I touch the screen, this whole thing's going to shut off. I know it, right? You know what's going to happen if I... There you go. Okay. If I go touching the screen, we're in big trouble. I keep my hands off the screen. Okay. All right. Speaking of all these pumps and bottles and all that, let's talk about the pump for a minute, okay? Because pumps and bottles and breasts, oh my. Okay, so there's all the hearts. Okay, hearts for the pump too. Okay, so this is going to be our giveaway for this week. Okay, who's excited? Who's excited to win the Evenflo Feeding Advanced Double Electric Breast Pump? You should be. If you're not saying yes right now, you should be. This thing is awesome. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about this pump. Yay. Okay, this pump, it's not just that, what? I got a lot of hearts now. I love all the hearts. Yay, bring it on. Okay, this pump is awesome because it has all the features that I wanted in a breast pump. I'm going to hug this pump because I love this pump so much, okay? This pump was such a labor of love. I worked with Evenflo Feeding several years ago when they were first designing the pump. And it was not just like they came and they showed me this pump and they're like, do you like it? What do you think? No, they came and they were like, okay, Shari, what would you put into a pump? We're designing this like awesome pump. We're at the stage right now like where we can actually change features, choose features. You can decide like if there's something that you'd really want in a breast pump, what would it be? Like who actually loves all this stuff? Me, you know, of course. I'm like, that's awesome because I've been thinking about this for like 15 years about what we need in a breast pump. And so all the features that I had seen, you know, maybe there were some features in other pumps, maybe there were features that had never been done, but they should have been done. Those were the ones that went into making this pump. And that's why I love it so much. And that's why I just love being able to offer it to you guys and show it to you guys. But so many of you have seen some of the basic things about this pump that I love, and those are those basic, most important features like individual speed and suction controls, the fact that it comes with these awesome soft silicone flanges, okay, and they're awesome. They comes with 3 sizes. And these soft, like really comfortable flanges too. And I don't know if you could see it here, but you see how like there's like a textured part? This part on the outside, the silicone is kind of sticky. So when you put it up to your breast, it kind of creates that seal so milk's not leaking out. But the inner part, the inner rim is smooth because it's textured so that your nipple doesn't stick to it. Okay, so the nipple's moving in and out. It's great. It creates like a little bit of a cushion here. And you know, what's awesome is that it comes with the 3 flanges because not everybody needs the same size. And even some moms need a different size for each side. Or you could start off with one size when you first have the baby and then a couple months later you need a different size. And size matters when it comes to your flange. You need to have a good sizing. The flange needs to fit right. Your nipple needs to fit right into this hole so that your milk can express, or it's going to hurt. If it doesn't fit right, it's going to hurt, and you may not get the milk out. So having the flanges come with the pump and 3 different sizes, that is awesome, okay? And lots of pumps don't do that, okay? They might sell other flanges, but you don't know how to know you don't know which one to buy, okay? It's not something that's really easy you can't just measure, like I'll have people say like, what size am I? Can you just especially when I was at like mommy cons, people come over and like show me their breasts. Yes, it really does happen. What size am I? I have no idea. Okay, it's not like fitting a bra. This is something that, you have to try out in order to know what size that you are. So having the flanges are important. And then of course forget it have to have is that, closed system. Okay, that means that there's a barrier here. Okay, and I go over this so often, but still there's people that don't do that. Okay, people don't know this. There is a barrier, okay, and that little barrier goes right there, and then the tubing clicks on. Okay, that means it's a closed system. That means that milk can go into here and down into the bottle, but it's not going to get sucked into your tube and grow mold and bacteria and all that other gunk. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have a closed system. Here's an awesome feature of this pump too. Okay, and this was like one of the things that I know for me, I was like, why do they make pumps like this? So when it came down to the pump, I was like, we have to fix this. Like for all you guys who've used breast pumps before, like when you put the pump on, you got the flange and you got to lean forward the whole time, because if you don't, the milk is like back flowing onto you, and then you're losing the seal, and you got to keep taking it off and wiping off your breast and wiping off the flange. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the leaning, okay? The constant leaning over, and you're like hunched over, your neck's killing you, your back's killing you, okay? That's because the flange is too straight, and the pump is, you're trying to accommodate the flange versus the flange accommodating you. Yes, you're saying yes, right? Well, they made this pump with an angle so that the flanges, this is called perfect positioning, okay? Genius, okay? This right here, when you put this on, you don't have to lean forward, because you can't see me doing it right now, but you don't have to lean forward because the angle of this automatically goes down. So you can sit straight up. It's called slouch-free pumping. Slouch-free pumping, yes, it's awesome, okay? You don't kill your back and your neck. You sit straight up, the milk comes out, you're not getting all backflow, it's going down into the bottle where it belongs. Now, can we get some hearts for that? Because that one is huge. That's huge. Okay, we need hearts for that. Yes, hearts for the perfect positioning, slouch-free pumping, okay? Then on top of it, somebody was asking me what pump I recommend. She wanted to get a closed system, and she was going between the Evenflo Feeding. Who was it that asked me that question? Was that, is it here on my paper? I think it was. Oh yeah, it's no. Where was it? Here, it's Stephanie. Stephanie asked the question. Let's talk about it for a second. She said, I'm getting ready to go back to work after having my baby. I want to get another pump to leave at work to make things easier. The medical supply store I can go through my insurance only has the Amita Purely Yours. I heard great things about the Spectra and the Evenflo Advanced. Please help me. Which is the best double pump? I don't care about insurance. So she's looking to buy a pump. And you know what? If your insurance is not giving you the pump that you want, what's great about this pump too is really affordable. Like the Advanced Double Electric with the bag and the cooler and all 3 flanges and extra bottles and both of my breastfeeding classes included with the pump is $129. Okay, and if you want just the pump, it's $99, and that includes the classes and the flanges too. So, if your insurance doesn't cover it, it's still a fantastic pump. Hearts for that, okay? She's asking which one should she get. I'm going to recommend the Evenflo Feeding, of course, because it's the one that I did all the testing on, and I know is a really great pump. I work with moms all the time. I think somebody actually just posted about that on our thread tonight, that she just got the pump. I was so happy to see it. Who was that posted? Because that was Brianna. She said, I just bought, what?
Just received mine today.
Yeah, she said I just bought this double electric pump with my first 2 kids. I didn't respond well to pumps this time around. I pumped 2 ounces in 5 minutes. This is huge for me. And I get that all the time. Like I hear that all the time from moms who use it. But you know, like other features, like I'm not completely clear about all the different features on some of the others, but I'm pretty sure like not all of them have where you can put batteries right into the pump. This one takes double A's right into it, so it's great. It's a great feature. There's no batteries in it right now, but see, that's the compartment. It's a great feature so that if you're on the go, you have it. It has the bottle holders right here, so it has integrated bottle holders, and you know, that way you're not spilling your milk. They're nice and tight too, like they sit really good, and all the different accessories that come with it. So
Nicole's comment right under it.
yeah, what is her
7
comment?
months and my Evenflo pump is still working like a champ.
7 months and her Evenflo pump is still working. That is what we hear. And pump does have a 1-year warranty, just like the rest of the pumps, but the pump works really, really good. So someone's going to win it. So I went over all those great features. What I want you to do is post, you know, what are your favorite features that I went over tonight? Because I went over a lot of them tonight. We talked about a lot of different things. What was your favorite? Okay, what's your most important? What was the most important one for you? I want you to post that. Okay, and we'll pick a winner. We're gonna do what we did last week too. We're gonna give this a couple days because not everybody can make it all at the same time. So we'll announce the winner in a few days. We'll give people a chance to watch some of the replays, and you guys go ahead and post some of your favorite features here. Leave some more questions. What I'll do is, because I can't see really well on the screen right now, we'll go through this thread, and our next Q&A, I'll answer some of these questions for you too. There's some great questions, I bet. I bet there are. I know you guys. You guys are the best. You guys are you guys loving this as much as I am? I mean, thank God for this, right? Like that we can just like turn on the camera and I can be here with you and answer these questions. I just love this so much. You guys are the best. I have the best group of people. How lucky am I? So lucky. Okay. Let's answer another question. Okay. This one came in from Erin, okay? And Erin said, do you have any great tips on weaning a toddler? 19 months and she's not sleeping all night without nursing. I've cut her back to 2 to 3 times per day, but nighttime often ends up co-sleeping. I know she's getting lots of good people, food, and nutrition, and I'm getting annoyed with her nighttime behavior, which means she flips and rolls and switches breasts over and over. I need sleep, so please help. Who can relate to Erin right now? Who can relate to Erin? Yeah, who can relate to Erin? Because so many people ask the same question of like, how do I cut out the nighttime feedings? I'm co-sleeping with my toddler and the baby wants to nurse all night long. Yeah, see, everybody can relate to Erin's question. That's why I said, all right, I'm going to answer this. So this is not the easiest question to answer because let's face it, if the baby's co-sleeping and in the bed with you, it's going to be really hard to get them to stop nursing. And so my best advice is going to be that if like she said, she's really annoyed, she's had enough, it's driving her nuts, it may be time. What I would say is before you start weaning off the breast, you may want to wean off the co-sleeping before the breast, because I just don't think it's going to happen naturally on its own, where the baby's not gonna, or your toddler's not going to roll over and want you. And that's gonna be a big fight in the middle of the night, which is why you're giving in and doing the feedings, even though you know it's not for food. It's so that you can keep everything kind of quiet and go back to sleep and give in. That's just not gonna stop without getting the baby in their own bed. So let's just be clear about this. I'm not saying that you need to wean or, the nighttime feedings, or that you need to not co-sleep. But if you want to not feed all night and your child wants to, having them in the bed is going to make it really complicated and difficult to be able to cut out those feedings. So that would be my advice. When I finally had enough and wanted my child to not be waking up all night, transitioning to her crib was the answer. It still took a little bit of a few days and, a few times of going in there, feeding during the night. But they definitely spaced out. She wasn't like right next to me, and that helped her to start sleeping through the night. So I think that's going to be the answer, is first start with transitioning out of the bed, then start cutting out the feedings at night. Anybody else having the same issue? Because I know this is like one of the big ones here. Let's see. Yeah, Cindy's answering this question right here, the same thing. She said, at nighttime, once my toddler could no longer co-sleep, he was not safe in the bed, fall rise. I cut it back till finally I started telling him that he didn't need milk at tonight. We had to save it for morning. Okay. So, it's really, you're getting to a point, and maybe it's not that, every child is different. So maybe it's not, it's just not time for your child. It's got to be kind of a combination. It's got to be your desire. Like, what do you want to do? And then think about, is your child ready to start, transitioning to their own bed? What's going on for your child? If there are other things happening, if there are other changes happening in your family, it may not be the right time. So just everything's individual. You think it through and decide if it is the right time, and then be consistent. I think being consistent, creating that environment for your child so that they can start sleeping in their own room, or their own bed, or whatever you're planning to do. But sleeping with your baby, it's going to make it really hard to wean. That could take a while, a long while, but you need sleep. I know. If your child's not ready to, you may be getting up anyway, but then you have to get up and go to their room to nurse them. So again, it's individual. If you try it and baby's still wanting to eat at night, it could be just not the time yet. 19 months may be the time. 19 months might not be the time. You might have to wait a couple more months. So you're going to have to try to figure that out for yourself and see each child. And you'll see, like with one child, it'll be one age, and then the next baby, it'll be a different age. But starting to become, as they start to get older, you can start kind of talking to them a little bit more. So that's where you can start to reason a little bit and explain, no, we're not going to do this. No, you're going to sleep here. And, that can be difficult, but it will start to change the behavior. Okay. So what else we got here? More questions? I know there was one more. Oh, Kristen. Kristen asked a question about, are there any places I can donate my pump? I hate the thought of throwing it away. Perhaps there's someone who can't afford one, who can't get one under the insurance. Okay, so, and actually the pump that she's asking about is an open system pump. It's a Medela pump. And I personally, these pumps are personal use pumps. Actually, all these are personal use pumps. The only ones that can really be shared technically are ones that are considered hospital grade. And let's go over what that means a little bit, because some pumps call themselves hospital strength, hospital, approved, hospital grade. What does it mean to be hospital grade? The hospital grade, based on, what the FDA says, is that the pump is meant to be shared between multiple people, so that's a pump that could be a rental pump where it's been approved to plug in tubing to, and multiple people can use that pump. That's technically what a hospital grade pump is. Some other pumps in the market, they do claim to be hospital grade when they're approved for individual use. So you want to be really careful about that, because it's a little bit misleading. It makes people think that the pump is somehow stronger, better, whatever. That doesn't necessarily, it's not the case necessarily. So when she's asking about giving away her pump or sharing her pump, I don't recommend sharing pumps, and I don't recommend getting used pumps or borrowing pumps, even when you replace tubing and all those other things. Pumps are like, they're like personal products. Okay, it's a personal product. Like, you're pumping bodily fluid into it, and then you're feeding your baby. it's just not one of those things that I would share. I would get like a used stroller or like a diaper bag or clothes or all those other things. Those are the things you can share and get secondhand. Your breast pump and your car seat. Those are the two things that I do not recommend ever sharing or getting secondhand, okay? Your breast pump, first of all, needs to be clean, needs to be fresh, new everything, okay? Those are meant for individual use and that's it. They're not supposed to be shared. And the second thing, your car seat, I know we're off topic a little, but that is the other product that I would never share or get secondhand, because if it's ever been in an accident, it's no good anymore and you just don't know. And these are two things that are super important, so you don't take a chance with it. So your breast pump and your car seats. Two things you never share, two things you get yourself. The good thing is that most people have these pumps covered by insurance now, so you don't even have to buy it. But for those of you that do, it's still worth it. Get the secondhand clothes. Do you agree? Does everybody agree with that? I hope so. I hope so. All right, so Kristen, throw your pump out. I hate to say that, but throw your pump out. There's nothing good that will come of it. There's nothing left to do with it. If you're done having your babies, nobody needs it, unfortunately. There's some pump manufacturers that do take pumps back to recycle them for like scrap. What I mean by that is they're not recycling them to use them again, but they do scrap them. So you can look into something like that. I know that they have some programs out there, but you don't want to share. Did everybody, I didn't get to see, did everybody put down what they liked about the pump? Was everybody commenting about your features that you like? Yeah? Okay.
Votes for closed system.
Yeah, we're having a closed system.
Mama not having a slouch.
No slouching. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. Hey, and there's this too. Let me just show you this. So the pump comes with 3 flange sizes, which fits like most moms. It's like fits like 80% of moms are going to fit into the 3 that come with it. But there's still that other 10 to 20%. And so these are the other 2 larger sizes that you can purchase separately that just came out. So now there's like 5 sizes to the pump. So you're going to fit into one of the 5 sizes for sure. Let me scroll back for a second here. Oh my goodness, look at all this. Okay.
Giveaway class.
Oh yeah, last time Joe just reminded me. Last time we did the Q&A, was that last week? Yeah, last week we did the Q&A and we gave away some classes, and we had some winners this week of the classes, and they got to choose which class they wanted to take, and it was really great. For the rest of the month, I have my classes 50% off, so just go to my website, mybabyexperts.com. Joe can post a link to the class page. If you're interested in taking any of the classes, it's a really good time because I have them half off for the month. If you get the pump, it comes with the pump, so you'll get both my classes. But the cloth diapering one is one that doesn't come with the class, and you can get on my website if you want to. But how about we give away 3 more classes tonight? Okay, so 3 of you guys will win the classes. I just want to know that you got the Simply Breastfeeding. You got, that's like for moms who are expecting, and it doesn't matter which baby. You know, you can watch it before you have your baby, before you go to the hospital, before you deliver, or right after. That's going to really help with initiating breastfeeding. And then there's breast pumps and briefcases, which is for pumping, going back to work, and storage, and all those other things. And then there's the cloth diapering class. If you want to write down, you can just post right here which class you'd want to win. And I'm going to give away 3 classes in addition to the breast pump tonight too. Okay, so that 3 of you guys will get a class. And I think those are all the questions for tonight we're going to answer. Let's see. Maybe there's something if I scroll back here. There's a lot of questions on here. Yeah, let's see. Look at you guys. You guys are awesome. Oh my goodness. Did you see one here that I can answer for them, Joe?
Question?
Yeah.
There's somebody got bumped out.
Oh, really?
Recently, let's see.
What happened here?
Somebody asked how often you have to buy replacement parts.
Oh, replacement parts. That's a good question. So they were asking how often do you need to do replacement parts on a pump?
Yeah.
You know, if your pump, that's a good question. If your pumps have parts that need to be replaced sometimes. So, you know, your hard parts, your hard pieces should last you the whole time. And if you're using a closed system, your tubing should never have to be replaced unless you rip it or lose it or something. That this never needs to be cleaned or washed. So you should never have to replace your tubing. On an open system, you have to be very careful and keep looking at your tubing to make sure there's nothing growing or anything inside the tube or discolored, because then it needs to be replaced. But the little parts, okay, like your little valves and membranes, these things, they wear out. So after a couple of months, you may need to, or sometimes even sooner, you may need to replace those. And the little diaphragms here, you want to be really careful when you're washing them. Don't throw them in the dishwasher. I would just do some hot soapy water, gentle washing, okay? And you'll know that if they look like they're not laying flat, you're not going to get good suction. Okay, so this needs to be laying flat. I don't know if you could see that. Can you see that? You can see that. If it's not laying really flat and it's kind of like bent or warped at all, you're going to lose suction to your breast. So that's a good time to change the membrane. Also, if you feel like your pump is losing suction on any pump, the first thing that I would do is check your membranes and your parts and replace them. So maybe when you're getting your pump, it's a good time to get, make sure you have some replacement parts on hand, because you don't want to know that like you need a new flange, a new membrane, and it's 2 in the morning, and like where are you going to get it? Or even if you need it for the next day for work, and you may not be able to pick it up in the store. Depends on the pump. Some pumps like this one, we do sell replacement parts in retail, like Walmart and stores like that, so you can go in. But some pumps, you have to order them, and so you want to make sure you have some of those extra parts on hand. So that's a good question, because it's going to affect the functioning of your pump and the suction. Okay, that's always, if your pump's losing suction, first thing to check is to make sure that your parts are not needing to be replaced, all your little membranes. Okay, so I think we're gonna say goodnight, and this was fantastic. What?
Did they have fun?
I hope so. I had a ton of fun. Did you guys have fun tonight? Was this fun? Was it informative? I hope so. Did we get some hearts? Get some hearts? Yeah. So I had a good time. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll do this again. And yes, there's the hearts. We'll do this again, and leave your comments here, and we will pick a winner for the pump and also for the classes. And leave me your questions, which I know you gave me a lot tonight, and we will be back to answer more. Okay, so have a good night, everybody. I love you all. Mwah. Good night.